Hi everyone, I'm Serendipity and welcome back to another Draw With Me. Today I am drawing a spooky ghost girl because I have been super in the Halloween mood. She has been so heavily requested on my Instagram, it's crazy. So I'm super glad that I'm finally getting around to her. So I started out by doing some concept sketching, and at first I did this sketch and I was not happy with it. I was like, no, we can do better. So I ended up doing this one and I was a lot more happy with the pose, and I ended up keeping the veil. I really like the veil going on. As always, I will have every single art supply that I use listed in the description. There's a link that will say art supplies, and if you click it, you can go to an Amazon storefront. I do get an affiliate if you shop through there, so I don't know, if you want to be nice, then you can buy stuff on there and I get like a little bit of money back. Definitely not necessary, but I just wanted to make it handy for you in case you ever wanted to find anything that I'm using. And if you find something that I use that is not on there, you can always ask me about it, and like I can tell you what it is or I can add it there later. I'm doing my usual process here where I sketch out the drawing on my toned paper, and then I go in with my kneaded eraser and I just lighten all of the pencil lines, and I make sure that it's light enough so that when I go in with my colored pencils, things don't smear around and get all muddy because we want it to be crisp. And so yeah, this is what it looks like after I erase and right before I'm about to go in with my colors. And I also took this sketch into Procreate because I was having a really hard time deciding what colors that I wanted to use. When I first drew her, I was like, yeah, I'll go with white because that's a classic ghost girl, right? They're white. And the more I looked at her and the more that I worked on her, I realized that I could just not bring myself to make her all white because that sounded so boring and that didn't sound very serendipity of me. Instead, this is the color mock-up that I did in Procreate, and I decided to go with like teal and like magenta pink for her veil. Kind of strange colors, I'm aware, but I like them. Something that I wanted to mention is that on my Instagram during the entire month of October, I'm actually hosting a little art event. I guess it's more of a prompt list, but it is Serendipity's Spooktober art event. And essentially, here is the prompt list. I tried to divide it into like approximately week-long lengths, and for each one you have a different prompt. So there's 4 prompts, and then you just make art according to the prompt. You post it on Instagram and you use the hashtag Spooktober so that I can see it, because I will be sharing some of the entries on my story. So yeah, if you want to draw with me, if you want to have a spooky drawing time with me, that would be so fun and I would love it. Definitely don't feel pressured to at all, but I just thought that I'd put that out there because it's a fun thing that I'm doing, and if you want to join, I would love that so much. So to get into the mood, I did find this spooky ghost story online that is kind of on theme, so I wanted to read that to you. So this ghost story is called Silhouettes in the House, and I will link the source of where I found it if you want to go and look it up. As a child, I used to live in a country house in Iowa. Contrary to what people believe, the house wasn't that old. It was built a short while after my birth. Since my parents' old house burned down completely by unknown causes, I remember I was about 6 or 7 years old and seeing figures around the house at night was something regular. I always think that it was my rich imagination, or those figures were real. Even though my parents never mentioned anything about it, I could tell the house was haunted. I was very young, but I knew something was not right. Me and my sister were too afraid to sleep in our own room, even if we shared one and were never alone. We preferred a couch in one end of the living room because it was only a short hallway to the room of our parents, and it was in close vicinity of the sofa as well as the dining hall. I remember falling asleep was very hard. I used to sit with my eyes open until they fell heavy and eventually closed. Growing up on a farm made me be a not-so-sensitive girl, so princesses were not on my favorite list, though I used to dream about a girl, a beautiful one, dressed in a gorgeous dress, similar to a wedding dress. She used to dance all the time, and it seemed she tried to talk to me in a dream. Her expression was always sad, even if she appeared to be dancing and having fun. So, as I was trying to fall asleep, my eyes were set on the direction of the dining room. I saw multiple figures there, of very different colors. They weren't white or black. They had on bright colors of pink, yellow, and blue. One in particular was gray, and I could tell it was wearing a top hat. One of them had on a big dress, but except for that one, the one with the top hat, I couldn't tell how the other figures were. There were so many walking around the small dining room. They never stepped out from the space. Just a couple of smaller figures used to run up the stairs, running up and down, and entered the bathroom. I thought back then that this was an ordinary sight to see at night. But now that I live in a regular house, which is not haunted, I can tell that was something unusual. After me and my sister grew up, my mother finally talked to us about the things we've seen, although she never mentioned anything about it. She told me one of the figures with the large dress was the bride. Seen from a distance, she appeared rather beautiful with long, dark brown colored hair. She resembled very much the princess I used to have in my dreams, but seen up close, she was very frightening. Her face was ugly and looked like an evil skull, and I get shivers up my spine each time I think about it. We moved out of the house, and today I live in a regular house without any activity of that kind. Growing up in that environment made me get used to things that I experienced in the house during my childhood, but now I realize it wasn't normal at all, and that we had a severe case of a ghost haunting. I am thankful the spirits didn't want to harm us. Well, I'm glad that the spirits didn't want to harm them either. That story is actually not too scary to me. I feel like it's more interesting. I hope you enjoyed me reading it to you, and maybe it will get you in the spooky mood. Now, I wanted to take a moment to talk about my Patreon. If you didn't know, I have a Patreon with a monthly print and sticker subscription. This is the September Patreon print and sticker. It is the Spooky Batgirl. And if you're watching in October, then the print and sticker will be this ghost girl that I'm currently working on. So if you want her, or if you're watching at any other time, you can go and check my Patreon, and it will usually say what is the current month's print and sticker. Anyways, back to the video now. So now I'm getting into the blending, and if you've never seen me draw with colored pencils before, what I use to blend is this colorless Prismacolor colorless blender pencil. It's essentially just a clear wax pencil, but I like to use it to put pressure, and it like burnishes down the color. That's how I get that really like smooth finish. And it is one of my all-time favorite art supplies. I don't see many people using it, but I love it so much. And you'll probably hear me raving about it a lot because it's just one of my favorite all-time art supplies ever. And it's a must for me when I'm doing colored pencil drawings. That is all that I really have to say in this art video. Let me know if there's any other topics that you would like me to discuss, or tutorials, or just like videos that you would like me to make, because I would like to be a lot more active here on YouTube. For the longest time, Instagram has been my most active social media, but lately I've been wanting to make a change. I would love to hear some feedback. So I'm just going to be quiet now and let you enjoy the spooky music and the rest of the drawing process. Here is the finished Ghost Girl illustration. I also scanned her and brought her into Procreate and made a version with a digital background. Prints and stickers of her will be available on my Patreon all during the month of October. If you watched this video all the way to the end, thank you so much. If you want to find prints, stickers, keychains, other stuff in my shop, you can find that at serendipitytheartist.com. And until next time, bye!